Loyal to our Barringer. So our alma mater proud, famed in song and story, hide between the sailing clouds, catch the sunset's glory. Barringer High, the name we raise. Long may we grow and prosper. Through the years we pledge thee praise. Loyal to our Barringer.
Hello, Barringer Blue Bears. Welcome to our Blue Bear podcast produced by the Barringer Production Studio. Thank you for tuning in on us today.
This podcast will explore what is new and exciting happening at Barringer High School, such as school events like fundraisers, sports information like upcoming games and scores, as well as other important information to keep you in the know. We will also cover major stories happening throughout the states, the country, and the world.
Blue Bear podcast will be hosted, produced, and distributed by students. Some assistance will be provided by our club leader, but for the most part, the show will be run by students.
If any Barringer student has an idea for a segment that you'd like to cover or is interested in joining our podcast, please join our Google Classroom code by using the code 2ZVI2R2.
Good afternoon. My name is Ayanna Gonzalez, and I am a 10th grader here at Barringer High School, and I am here with Dr. Aviles. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, doing great.
So I have a couple of questions for you today. So first off, can you tell our listeners a little about yourself? Where are you from? What is your favorite food? And who is your hero?
Oh, okay, wow. I'm originally from Brooklyn, born and raised, Coney Island Projects, born in Coney Island Hospital. Grew up in a time where, you know, being in the urban area probably wasn't the best back in the 80s when the crack epidemic first hit. You know, a lot of my family, friends succumbed to the drugs and the issues that surround urban communities today. But went to Abraham Lincoln High School, played football, focused on school, stayed away from the streets, and I'm here today with you, serving as your principal. My favorite food, rice and beans, chicken, any type of chicken, fried chicken, roasted chicken. What was the other question?
Who's your hero?
Oh, my hero. Wow, obviously my mom. She's my hero. Growing up, Jerry Rice, football player, 49ers. Even though I'm a Giants fan, Jerry Rice is definitely one of my favorites. Let's see, who else? That's pretty much it for now, yeah.
Okay. Secondly, how did you think virtual learning would go in the spring when it was first announced?
I thought it was a temporary thing. I thought it was something that would be done in a couple weeks. Didn't think it would last this long. And lo and behold, we're still here 6, 7, 8 months later, still doing virtual, and there's a good chance we may continue virtual for the rest of the school year. So I had no idea it would be this extended. Very challenging to make sure that, you know, my students get the services that they need. Proud to say that 100% of the students that requested a Chromebook and access has gotten it.
Great.
The challenge is, especially with students, our most neediest students, providing them social services and support online is very difficult because it's a virtual platform. So that's the thing that we're struggling the most with. We're being very creative. We've had teachers go visit houses. We have social workers visiting houses, attendance counselors. And actually the school itself with staff is open, and we do meet with families outside of the school. Obviously we want to practice safety, 6 feet apart, right? Wearing masks, temperature checks. But I had no idea it would be this long, and I missed the school. I know the students miss coming to school, I'm looking forward to the day that this is over. Despite the circumstances, I believe Barringer is doing very well.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the hybrid instruction?
Well, before this whole pandemic thing started, we were actually trying to start a virtual school for students that suffer from anxiety, medical issues, and we had developed a program for them. So it was kind of in line with what took place with the pandemic. So we were kind of sort of better prepared than other schools. I know Barringer's goal eventually is to become 1-to-1, which means every single student will have a laptop. Right now, we have out of 1,600 students, we've given out 1,400 laptops. So we're getting there. It's one of those things that making sure that we're prepared. For the unexpected, it's very difficult, but I think we've covered all the bases with that.
How do you plan on spreading school spirit during virtual instruction?
Well, we're trying to keep a certain degree of normalcy, right? So we just had the elections, and obviously you did your speech, which is wonderful. A lot of students. So we had a student class elections this past week. We're tabulating the votes. So that's one way. We're entertaining the thought of having a school pep rally. We haven't figured out how we were planning to do that. We're eventually looking to do our grade level assemblies and put it in preventative measures to make sure that we don't get hacked. I think one of the biggest concerns is, one of my nightmares is, I have a whole school assembly and I'm hijacked online. So we have to make sure we put provisions in place to make sure that doesn't happen. But everything that we were doing in the regular school year, we're trying to do virtually. It's not the same, obviously, but we are making attempts. Even Spirit Week, we even talk about Spirit Week and how we could get kids involved with Spirit Week. But we're trying our very best to emulate a regular school environment in a pretty much difficult time.
Okay. What are some positive effects of virtual learning?
Figuring out that kids are doing well. Certain kids do well with it. So as I said before, we're toying with the idea of having a virtual school for students that are struggling, that ill, that have anxiety, that probably don't do well in a normal environment. And I actually find that some students are really stepping up. Students that struggled during the regular school day are actually doing better virtually. That's obviously not all of them, but we want to keep certain components of virtual learning when we get back, right? So the hybrid piece is obviously, people talk about there's not going to be any more snow days, right? So because you can simply say, hey, everyone's going to be virtual today, and the teachers teach online, so the kids are not too happy about that. But I like that because it keeps us from losing. Smart. Yeah, and it keeps us from losing instruction, right? So we plan to continue to revisit the concept of hybrid learning when we do come back. So we actually have regular school day, incorporating the technology, right? We do want human interaction because human interaction is something that we need, right?
Absolutely.
But also give students the option to say, hey, I have a certain set of difficulties or disabilities that I would probably do better staying at home and learning virtually, and giving those students that option, students and parents that option. And I know, once again, we had parents that were requesting or talking about virtual online learning before this happened. So this now shows that it is now possible, and finding all the pitfalls, avoiding pitfalls, fixing problems that exist, bandwidth, making sure that the students have the password, security, those kind of issues that we're forced to address now. So there's not a reason why we can't continue if a parent or student, parent and student choose to do virtual 100% of the time.
Barringer High School.
Yeah, it's pretty ambitious. Obviously Barringer in recent years, 5, 10 years, going back 20, back in the 80s, 70s, has had developed a painful reputation of quote unquote being a dropout factory, right? Mm-hmm. And the numbers didn't lie. So in 2018, before I came, our graduation rate was hovering around 50%. And that's not good. My goal is within the next 2-3 years, right? I'm looking at a 5-year plan. So this is my second year. In 3 more years, that Barringer will be at 90%, which means, almost, you're talking about a 40 percentage point increase. And people are like, well, that's kind of ambitious. But if you really think about it, 2020, our graduation rate increased to 70%, 71.4% right now. That's a 20-point increase, more than 20 points. That's amazing, right? So making sure that our students are successful, giving them as many options as possible. So my goal is to compete with any other school, or suburban school, or maybe even the magnets, right? And offer the same type of programming the magnets offer, right? Mr. Leone's vision for all of Newark is that every school will be a successful school. Yeah. And we're taking steps to get there. So I'm really proud of that. Attendance rates are up, I know we struggled a little bit with the virtual piece, but we broke 80% this past month. So my goal is to break 85% this next month coming up. And the course offerings, we have a robust CTE program. We doubled the amount of teachers for carpentry. So we had 1 teacher for carpentry. We just hired another one to fulfill the demand for the carpentry class. VPA, Visual and Performing Arts, we just hired another dance teacher, right? My goal is eventually to incorporate plumbing, electrician, so that students have an option of getting some sort of certificate by the time they finish, and they could join the workforce right away if they don't want to go straight to college. And also increasing, our valedictorian this past year went to Villanova, right? One of the top tier schools, and I'm very proud of that. Years ago, I would say about 20 years ago, the valedictorian was getting, and not to disrespect Essex County, but the valedictorian was going to Essex County. My thing is, why can't our valedictorian, just like any other valedictorian, go to an Ivy League school, go to a top tier school? And my thing is, you come to Barringer, the world is yours. You could go to college, a very good college if you want to, or if you don't want to go to college, you could go, cars passing by, music, or you could go to, you go straight to the workforce, and we hopefully prepare you for that, right? We also, Barringer has never had a JROTC program. We have one now. That took a lot of work for that. We have the music tech program. Eventually we want to get a video tech program, that's doing phenomenal work with grants. We just updated the gymnasium with new floors. We just received the Victoria Foundation grant for the auditorium to redo our audio system and lighting system in the auditorium. So my thing is to differentiate and diversify as many course offerings as possible at Barringer High School. So those are the things I'm really excited about. And my thing is, Barringer is a legitimate option for success. With next year, I want to get to 85% graduation rate. The following year, I want to break 90%. Barringer hasn't hit 90% graduation rate in quite some time. And if we do that, the world is yours. The world is ours. It belongs to Barringer students, and it brings a certain level of pride. We have our new law academy. It's another academy that I would like to talk about. We have 3 law classes. We have a cybersecurity class, and I'm really excited about that. We have a partnership with Rutgers Law. And we hopefully get a pipeline of students going directly into Rutgers so they can go into their law program. We have Cops for Kids, so you want every branch of law and public safety. So becoming a police officer, public safety, firefighter, anything that you want to do in terms of that public safety realm, you can do. And once again, diversifying the options for students. So if you come to Barringer, if you like something, you could do it here.
Super excited. What are 3 goals you want to reach in our school this year, and why?
This year, 80% graduation rate, right? So my goal, obviously I would love to hit 90% right away, but we're progressing there. We broke 70% this past graduating class, next graduating class. By the time you're a senior, you'll be within that class of over 90% graduation rate, right? So that's the first goal. Increase attendance rates, right? And also continue to make our CTE program, Career and Technical Education program, the most robust, not just in New Jersey, but in the nation. Those are my 3 goals. I have a few more, but those are just the first 3 I can just come to mind right now.
How can the students help you to achieve your vision of what Barringer could be?
Well, part of what I want to do is, especially with student government, right? My big push is like the principal's council, right? Meeting with the principal. That's something I want to start virtually as well. Once you guys are elected as student government officials at the school, I want to meet with you and talk to the students about what we could do to make Barringer a better place. Eventually, with all this that I'm doing at Barringer, essentially, I want to give it back to the students. I want the students to take charge, right? And what best way is to have representation. And respect that representation. So my thing is student voice. Student voice is definitely one of the top priorities for me.
If you could relay one message to the entire student body, what would it be?
The choice is yours. The choice is yours. Like, if I want to relay a message is that, we talk about this all the time about the mental health piece. I actually had a great meeting with my staff. The last 2 meetings were great. The last piece we talked about mental health and that understanding that there are challenges, but you could overcome those challenges, right? You fall 5 times, you get up 6. You fall 7, you get up 8. So the message to the student body is that no matter what obstacles in your way, that Barringer could help assist and help you overcome those obstacles. We also increased the amount of social workers and guidance counselors as well to help with the social emotional piece. Because people all too often talk about academics, testing. The social emotional piece, listen, it's tough. It's tough being a teenager these days. It's super tough, and that's pretty much what I want. There's so much more, and I'm pretty sure we don't have enough time to talk about it, but those are just a few of the things that I want to bring to Barringer High School. Well,
thank you so much, Doctor. Those are my questions for you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yay! All right.
Debate club, vacancy. Yearbook club, vacancy. Spanish club, Dr. Mitchel, Blueberry Ambassadors, Mr. Shepard, Podcast Club, Mr. Wilson, Newspaper, Mr. Wilson, TV Station, Mr. Denson, Radio Station, Mr. Denson.
Robotics Club, Ms. Castillo, Marching Band, Ms. Lawrence, Anime and Manga Club, Ms. Decoma, GSA, Ms. Salvador, ESL Club, Ms. DeJesus Walker, Book Club, Ms. Jacobs, Dance Club, Ms. Jamieson, and Ms. Rivera.
The last couple of clubs we have on the list here is the Sister Club, hosted by Ms. Odom Thomas, then the Latin Dance Club, hosted by Ms. Hurtado, the Step Club, run by Ms. Gaynor, the Musical Production Club by Ms. Samp, the English-Spanish Language Exchange by Ms. Sanderson, the Way Club, hosted by Mr. Ramallo, and the Sneaker Customization Club by Mr. Del Val.
I'm here with Aldaquan Stevenson, and he's a 10th grader. Velasquez, and he is an 11th grade student. I also have Gianna Rodriguez here. She is a 10th grade student as well. I'm here with Tyrese Cox, and he is also a 10th grader here at Barringer, and he's a part of our marching band. Gianna, why has it been important for you to engage in a club during COVID?
Well, I think it's important for me, and especially since I'm like more of a, I wouldn't say I'm an extrovert, but I'm very much an introvert.
Socializer.
I like to be around people, but of course keep my distance. So I guess, with all COVID and quarantine happening, it's like good to get out and at least talk to somebody. It's not just like sitting at home, on the phone all day.
But for me personally, it's important to engage in a club so I can, go out and experience, different activities. Since now that with COVID we're stuck inside, it helps me, relieve myself, helps me go out and enjoy my time with other people, other persons, and do the things I really do.
When you live around people, just move back.
I mean, there's really nothing else to do while in COVID besides playing games and stuff. At least I can go outside and engage in something.
Other than band, what else do you do outside of your home?
Well, aside from band, I usually go on activities like engaging with my neighbors, having a friendly talk. We mostly go out and go from house to house, and we deliver food to people, like extra food. There's in my neighborhoods, there's some houses that don't have their income is low. So what we do is we buy some food and we put in like a little package for some of the houses, and we go house to house, the people who need it the most, and then we just distribute food and have nice conversations.
That's a great way to give back.
I make my own music. Like, I use soundtrack.
I play basketball, football.
I don't really go out much except for band, because, to like, distance myself from anybody else, who could have COVID. So I usually stay home or I write and sing, just to like keep my mind off of it.
That's great. How has COVID changed your life?
Well, I'd say boring, that I can't go outside. We don't want other places.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Yeah. Well, since COVID showed me that enjoying your time and spending time is very precious. And now that, we're stuck inside, we don't have much to do, we're separated from, the world, it's better to enjoy the life before something like this happens. It's better to, live your life to the fullest. So when moments like this happen, all the time that spent wasted inside, it's not gonna affect you as much because every day you're spending your life to the fullest, right? So for me, it's basically showing me the reality of always preserve your time and always use it well, and don't waste your time because you never know how things like that might happen again.
Well, thank you. That was a great conversation, Andre.
Well, COVID changed this, especially since I was this whole summer, and plus I had my 616 pass. I was very much planning a lot of stuff. So this summer I was supposed to go to Israel and then Mexico, and then of course I can't do that. So plus my 616 I was supposed to go to a really concert I was planning to for 2 years. So it's just, I guess it changed my life more socially than it has anything else.
Unfortunately, a lot of people's plans were canceled for the summer. School was canceled. It's a mess. Thank you though. The marching band director of Barringer High School. What has been the biggest obstacle to rehearsing?
With the remote learning, with students being only at home, unlike normal when they just continue to stay after school for practice, now they have to make the extra trip to get out here for practice, and then they have to find a way home. So for some students, commuting is an issue. And then also because of remote learning, we have some students taking care of younger siblings or students with home responsibilities, which would also make it hard for them to get over to rehearsal.
How do you impose the health recommendations during practices and games?
During football games, we have to keep our masks on the entire time, and the horns are the only ones who are allowed to move their masks down when they play their instruments, and as soon as they're done playing, they put the masks back up. When we're here at practice, we have the outdoor space to spread out a little bit more. Again, the horns are the only ones who keep their masks off when they're playing. They put them back up when they're talking. And the dancers sometimes have their masks off, but they're much more spread out than everybody else. We also don't allow any students in the building except to get their equipment, and then it's only one at a time and with a mask on.
What is the greatest success you have had during COVID practices?
So far, I think our greatest success has been the little video that we made, which was only 30 seconds long, but took a lot of work, which was for the back to school night. And it took a lot of editing hours, a lot of time for the students to get their recordings exactly right for their little clips. But the end product was very good. I was very proud of that.
Did you expect to see success?
I knew that it would be challenging, but I wasn't expecting it to be so time-consuming. There were a lot of students who are very much perfectionists, so if they made a tiny little mistake, we had to record it over and over, so sometimes that took a while.
Thank you so much for talking with us, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you.
From all of us at the Blue Bear Podcast Studio, we would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to all the students, faculty, and staff that participated in today's episode. As always, stay classy, Blue Bears, and thanks for listening.
Lord.